I never thought emptiness could feel this heavy. I sat on the edge of my bed one night in early spring of 2022, staring at the half-empty bottle of whiskey on my dresser and the meditation mat rolled up in the corner of my room. For years, I had tried to drown my loneliness in silence, chanting words I could barely believe anymore, and drinking just enough to numb the ache in my chest. My body shook, not from the alcohol, but from the weight of knowing that after 50 years of life, I still did not know peace. I whispered into the air, "God, if you are real, why does it feel like I am praying to a wall?" The room grew darker, the silence louder, and for the first time I felt fear that maybe the voices I had trusted all these years were leading me to a place I could not escape. What I did not know was that night would open a door I never expected, a door that would take me straight into hell itself. Before I continue, I want to pause and thank every single one of you watching this testimony. If you are subscribed, you have no idea how much that means to me. Your support is the fuel that keeps this channel alive and gives us strength to keep sharing stories that change lives. To all the new and returning viewers who have not yet subscribed, I cannot wait for you to hit that button right now. It would mean the world, and it helps spread messages like this to more people who desperately need them. Also, do not forget to comment and share your thoughts below as we go through this journey together. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Edna, and I was born and raised in South Carolina in the late 1960s. Growing up, church was not a choice in my family. It was expected. But instead of finding God there, I found judgment. I remember sitting in wooden pews watching people sing about heaven on Sunday, but gossiping about each other on Monday. That hypocrisy planted a seed of bitterness in me. By the time I was in my 30s, I had walked away from Christianity altogether. A trip overseas introduced me to Buddhism, and for a while it seemed like the perfect answer. Meditation gave me discipline, silence gave me a sense of control, and the rituals felt cleaner than the messy churches I had known. I convinced myself that peace was within me, that I did not need Jesus, and that life was about balance, not faith. But behind closed doors, the truth was much darker. I struggled with shame that I buried under rituals, alcohol that I told myself was just to relax, and unforgiveness that sat like acid in my chest. Outwardly, I taught others how to meditate, how to find the light within, but inwardly, I was drowning in shadows. By the time I hit 50, I felt like a fraud. I could quote Buddhist chants, but I couldn't sleep at night without pills. I could smile in front of people, but I cried myself to sleep, asking questions I pretended I had answers for. The truth was, my soul was restless. I doubted God, ignored his name, and yet, deep inside, I feared that one day I would stand before him and find out that I had built my life on lies. On that night in 2022, everything came crashing down. My body weak from days of fasting and searching for clarity, my heart heavy with suicidal thoughts. I collapsed on the floor of my home. My chest tightened, my vision blurred, and I knew I was leaving this world. What I did not know was where I was going or what awaited me on the other side. The moment I collapsed, everything around me shifted. My body was lying still on the cold wooden floor of my home, but I was no longer inside it. At first, there was silence, so heavy it felt like my ears were caving in. Then, without warning, I felt myself pulled downward, as though an invisible hand had gripped my soul and yanked me into a bottomless pit. I screamed, but no sound came out. The air around me grew hotter, thicker, suffocating. The silence broke into echoes of screams, thousands, millions, voices layered over each other, shrieking in agony. The smell was unbearable, like burning flesh mixed with sulfur and decay. My stomach turned, but there was no escape. The darkness was alive. I could feel it pressing against me, whispering lies into my ears. Demons, creatures I cannot fully describe, emerged from the shadows. their bodies twisted, their faces sneering, with eyes that pierced like knives. One of them hissed, "You followed the silence. Now it will swallow you forever." My heart froze. I wanted to cry out to Buddha, to the chants I had repeated for years. But the moment I tried, I heard a hollow echo. Nothing answered back. But then I saw them. Across a burning valley, monks in orange robes were kneeling, their lips moving in frantic chants. Their voices rose in desperate unison, but every word seemed to fall dead, like ashes against stone. Their idols stood towering above them, stone figures, golden statues, but they were lifeless, cold in death. The monks' eyes widened with horror as demons mocked them, hurling insults, dragging them deeper into the fire. I wanted to look away, but I could not. One monk turned his head toward me, his face twisted in terror, his hands clasped, as if begging me to join his chants. But I felt it in my soul. These idols could not hear, could not save, could not speak. Their prayers were swallowed by the flames, and the silence of their gods was louder than all the screams around us. "That will be you," a demon whispered in my ear, its breath like hot tar. "You gave your life to shadows. Now the shadows will claim you." My legs felt chained. I struggled, but the ground beneath me cracked open and flames leapt toward my feet. Regret tore through me like a knife. My mind replayed every moment I had chosen rituals over relationship, silence over the voice of God, idols over Jesus. The weight of those choices crushed me, and I knew I deserved this. But then I heard something. A voice, steady and strong, cutting through the chaos like thunder. It was not coming from the idols, or the monks, or even my own lips. It came from behind me, so full of authority that every demon around me stopped. "Your idols cannot hear you." The words echoed in my soul. My heart pounded. Fear and hope collided inside me, because deep down, I knew I was not alone. When that voice thundered, "Your idols cannot hear you," everything in hell seemed to freeze. The screams paused, the demons recoiled, and even the fire itself trembled. I turned, and what I saw made my knees buckle. Through the suffocating darkness, a light pierced straight through, brighter than the sun, but softer than the morning dawn. The figure of a man stepped forward, clothed in white that no fire could touch. His eyes, oh, his eyes were like flames, burning not with anger, but with an authority that no demon could withstand. I knew without a doubt it was Jesus. The demons hissed and shrieked, clawing at the ground as they scrambled to flee from him. One tried to hold me down, its claws digging into my shoulders, but the moment Jesus lifted his hand, the creature shrieked and vanished like smoke in the wind. My whole body shook, but for the first time in years, I felt safe. "Lord," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "I followed silence. I followed lies. I do not deserve you." His voice came again, steady yet filled with mercy. "Edna, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Your idols cannot hear you, but I have always heard you. Your time is not yet come. Go back and tell them what you saw. Tell them I am the only way." The moment he spoke those words, the fire around me dimmed. The monks I had seen earlier, still chanting to deaf gods, faded into the distance. I wanted to reach out to them, but my body was being pulled upward, away from the flames, away from the screams, back into the light. The next moment, I woke up. I was lying in a hospital bed, a nurse leaning over me, calling my name. My chest ached, my throat was dry, but I was alive. I had been gone for hours, but in my spirit, it felt like eternity. From that day forward, everything changed. I threw out every idol in my home, the statues, the beads, the books. I knew they could not speak, they could not save, they could not hear. I repented with tears that soaked my pillow for nights, asking God to forgive me for the years I spent chasing shadows. And He did. My personality began to shift. The bitterness I once carried broke. The alcohol, the pills, the restless nights, they lost their grip. My relationships were restored. My family saw a new woman, softer yet stronger, no longer hiding behind rituals, but living with a real faith. I was no longer ashamed to say the name of Jesus. Instead, I spoke it boldly. Now, when I look at people searching for truth in all the wrong places, whether it is success, pleasure, idols, or empty philosophies, I feel the urgency in my soul. I remember the screams, I remember the silence of false gods, and I remember His voice. To you watching this right now, let me speak plainly. Hell is not a metaphor. It is real, and I saw it with my own eyes. Idols, no matter what shape or name they take, will never save you. Only Jesus saves, and He is still saving. I will never forget two truths etched into my soul that night. 1, hell is not a metaphor. It is a destiny for those who reject the truth. And 2, your idols will stay silent, but Jesus speaks life. Friend, if you are living on the edge, unsure if God is real, I am living proof that He is. I should have been lost forever, but mercy pulled me out. Do not wait until it's too late. Choose Him now. Before I end this, I want to ask you, what do you think keeps people clinging to idols even when they know those idols cannot save them? And do you believe that Jesus still speaks to people today? Share your answers in the comments. I would love to read them. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps this testimony reach others who need to hear the truth that hell is real, but so is redemption through Jesus Christ.